Welcome back to N2 the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Danders, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and this is the most horrifying thing I've seen on the internet today.
This is
That's the Funko of Herbie.
Yeah.
From the movie. I saw that, and I'm like,
first of all, if it didn't say branding of Funko, I never would have thought that that's what that was.
yeah, and I was just like, that's just gonna scare people. That's just how I feel about that.
It gives early Furby vibes, and that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing it's missing is a knife in its hand, basically.
It is a kill machine. It is definitely a kill machine. I don't collect Funkos too often. I know we've got a couple of them around here.
Yeah.
In terms of design, it is a true departure from like even the body type.
Yeah, it's not a typical Funko.
Right. So now, obviously, Herbie does not look like a person, sure. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't it have been better to make it a little closer to what a typical Funko Pop looks like?
Well, if you think about it, it's got a big head.
Okay. All right. I mean,
so that's about as close as it gets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so do I. Yeah. Like, that doesn't make me.
Well, no, but like every Funko has a big head.
It does have a big head
on a smaller body.
But I don't feel like
it just has the big head because the body's not smaller. It almost is proportional to it.
I was gonna say, like, it doesn't even look size wise the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I do like the copyright is 20th Century Studios and Marvel. Like,
how does that work?
I have no idea.
Because then I'm like, is that it? First of all, is it 20th Century Studios anymore?
Well, it's not 20th Century Fox,
right?
They changed it to 20th Century Studio when they.
Why I thought it was 21st Century.
I think that's something they tried, and I don't think it worked out very well for them.
Because I was like, 20th Century, that's the 1900s.
I like 20th Century Studios better anyway.
I can get with that. Yeah, because one, we know it. Yeah. That's number one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just take out the Fox because that's what died.
Yep.
I like it. It. You stand in line to get that one?
Oh, no. No.
Oh, your face was, your face reacted before the words came out. That was amazing.
No.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
No, it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. That's nightmare fuel.
That's not even like a gag gift, an elephant.
Well, I mean, if someone said, "Hey, will you get this for me?" I'd be like, "Sure," and not do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't want that in your room. You don't want that.
Well, I just don't. I don't want to waste my time.
No. They just.
I talk about a line that does not move. It's the Funko
line. Does not.
It doesn't move.
It goes nowhere,
and it's huge.
Nowhere. Remember that first year that we went and it was like off-site, and that was amazing because it was like a whole like installation.
Yeah, and we were like almost in the door and like, yeah, we're taking lunch.
And you're like, oh.
And I told my buddy, I'm like, yeah, that's the last time I ever do that for you.
Sorry.
I did like the fact that it was off campus.
That was nice. That was very, very nice. Nice little break from all the craziness. I kind of wish that they would move out of that corner. From the convention center, because I think that
I think that they probably have the room. That's why they do it at this point.
But it congests so bad. Like, you can't even.
Everything congests.
I mean, it does, but like I actively avoid Funko, and I don't. It's not even like I'm a big fan. Like, truthfully, I'm not. But like, even if I was with people, they're like, "Oh, I want to go to see Funko." I don't want to go over there.
Oh, they don't want you standing there though.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
But it's like, but that's everything.
That's true. It is. They want.
Unless you're buying something, they don't want you standing around.
They don't want you there. Get out the way. Get out the way. All right, so we are going to have a quick conversation, and I say quick because you have to agree with Jean-Paul on this one, about Predators, Killers, which dropped on Hulu early this month. And I let me first say this. I loved it. Like, without question, I thought it was absolutely fun and engaging. How did you feel about it?
I liked it, but it's rinse and repeat.
Okay,
like
all right. It's
the Predator comes in, takes out a bunch of people,
right?
And there's that one person.
Only that one. Do you think that's why, like, if you were to look at the lore as to why they keep coming back to Earth, because there's always one person that manages to beat that one Predator that beat like a dozen other people? And they're like, man, we got to keep going until we get like a straight up washout victory. We got to keep going back because we can kill all these other ones, but there's always one that gets us, and we will not live with that. I think that would be amazing if there's one like Predator movie where he actually wipes out everybody and they go, all right, we're done. We're not going back anymore. We've got them.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Okay, all right. But you are absolutely right. It is rinse and repeat. There is always that thing.
But I liked it.
Okay,
I liked it. Yeah, I didn't love it. I thought Prey was much like better.
Fair.
Even that follows the whole.
It does.
Rinse and repeat.
But it also had a different context to it that made it even more fun.
Yeah.
Obviously, number one, female lead, which we had not seen in a strictly Predator movie since. We got that in Alien versus Predator, but we don't talk about Alien versus Predator.
We got that in Aliens.
We did, yeah. But not in that, specifically the Predator series hadn't done that.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. We've seen that before. Yeah. I love the historic piece of it. I thought that was amazing. Every other time that we had a Predator movie, it was pretty much current day. So Prey was awesome in that regard. Did you have a favorite of and this is going to start our conversation, of the 3 entry pieces between the Viking, the samurai?
I don't think I had a favorite. I think I enjoyed them all.
Okay.
Because they were all different times.
Okay.
And everything. I thought told the story well enough.
It did. I definitely liked the characterization. My favorite was the ninja in the middle. I love the all the context of.
And it was the only one where there was 2 that were battling.
Yes, and I really like that. Okay, so that opens the door for our conversation, our discussion, our debate here is whether or not this counts as an anthology. What is interesting to me is I say it is an anthology. You say it's not an anthology. And I think we have very strong arguments across the board for why you consider it yay or nay. I don't know that this is one of those things that absolutely has a definitive answer, because I think anthologies, as I've come to understand it, are kind of difficult to pin down as to what makes one and what doesn't make one.
I think that if it just ended with them being captured, then it's an anthology.
Okay.
Because then it just ends and
it just
they just told they told their separate stories.
Right.
My problem is where they converge and they're all together.
Okay.
So it becomes one big story.
Okay. Now, this is one of the things that I made the argument of was the way that they tell each one, they are a very hard stop, beginning, middle, and end, right? And there's a big piece of the puzzle that's missing that keeps it from being one cohesive story, and it's how they all got caught. We see only one get caught, but we actually don't know how he got caught, which becomes kind of an interesting thing because it kind of requires for your previous Predator knowledge to make sense, right? So the only one that we see get caught is the pilot. That's the only one. Everyone else, they beat their guy, and then it kind of fades into, oh snap, they're caught up on this ship.
Yeah.
And I say it's a hard stop because when the pilot gets caught, one, there's got to be a whole story as to how in the world did they find him. Because literally where he fights and beats the Predator is not where they found him. So to me, that's a huge jump where I'm there's an end of a story there. There's such an amount of time that presumably has passed where the war is over, he's been discharged, he's gone home, and somehow they have found him. And that's a totally different story to me. Which is why I'm that's something else. Also, the way that he surrenders is because they get the 3 dots on him. But based on what his storyline is, he shouldn't know what that is. It's not like he fought him hand to hand and he got 3 dots. So that's more for us to know oh, they're going to shoot you. Okay. So you don't fight because they're going to shoot you, but he shouldn't know that. And does he automatically give up right then and there? Or do they have more of a story that's being told before they actually get him on the ship? That's kind of why I say that it's an anthology, because there are so many big parts and pieces that are cut out of the overall flow of the narrative. But that doesn't stop it from being one for you.
No, I mean, it's because what ends up happening is they all get together.
Right.
And then they fight him.
It's true.
And escape.
So
it's, well, some of them escape.
Yeah, some of them do.
That makes it what if.
I like that you say that too, because, okay, that
makes it what if.
Yeah.
the animated series.
Right.
Okay, not the comic book.
Right.
Which I love.
Because they definitely like bring everybody together.
Yes.
So to that end, because we always end up talking about this stuff, does that make the Infinity Saga a one big story, or is that an anthology for you?
That's a good question, because if you think about it, you should be able to watch each movie with little context, but you still need context.
Right.
Because you can watch The Winter Soldier, but you still have to know who Bucky is.
Right.
So you'd have to watch
Gotta watch the first Avenger. Yeah.
Now, if you were to take them, yeah, because it's a one big story. It has to be one big story because you can't just go Civil War without knowing the Avengers, without knowing Iron Man, Thor, blah blah blah. Even though Thor's not in it, but
I think they make a reference.
yeah. But yeah, it would end up being one big story.
Okay, all right. What I like is I appreciate the consistency of your determination right there, because I'm sure that there are people that would be like, well, no, because it became the Infinity Saga like after the fact, once you get to phase 2, right? Like once you get to Avengers 2 is when they actually start saying, well, this is actually leading to something bigger, right? Like that's like we had the tease of Thanos, but like the actual goal of it being something bigger doesn't happen until like Age of Ultron comes out, because that's when they start naming.
No, I don't think. I think it becomes something bigger. Well, when is Avengers in phase 1?
Yes.
Okay, that's when it becomes.
That's when it becomes bigger.
Yeah,
okay.
Because they're after Stone.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Let's chop. Wait. So you're saying in Avengers, that's when it becomes the Infinity Saga?
Yeah, that's where it starts.
Interesting.
Because they're after a gem. They're after one of the gems.
Even though they don't know that that's what that is.
Well, they don't know what it is.
We didn't know that either.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that Kevin Feige didn't know.
Oh, I like that move. Okay.
Now, if you're going to go, well, when they made Iron Man, yeah, absolutely. When they made Iron Man, they didn't know what they had.
Right. So you, in the midst of the movies, you're saying that you think the idea, at the very least, of it being or what became the Infinity Saga was in play by Avengers.
Yep. Or during
Avengers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. See,
I clearly think it's after, and it's for one super reason. Even though I know we're supposed to be talking about Predator and we're here talking about the MCU because we always do. It's because in Infinity War specifically, when we get to that part where I can't think of whatever his minion servant's name, and he says no one has had the whatever to wield 2 Infinity Stones at once, and I'm like, excuse me, Loki had that exact combination of 2 Infinity Stones before it said Avengers at the first movie. Like he had the Mind Stone and he had the Tesseract at the same time, and it hadn't even said Avengers yet. What are you talking about?
So have you ever known anyone to say the wrong thing?
Yes, but this is kind of my thing here is in the context of what the narrative is supposed to be. Loki didn't have the Tesseract, but he was given the scepter by Thanos, and I would not consider that this character would have made that mistake, because the guy who he's with is who gave it to Loki in order to even say like, hey, you have this thing, I want you to go get this other one.
Well, it also could be to pump up Thanos that much more.
I agree.
So he's Thanos' hype man.
He's his Flavor Flav.
Yeah. There you go.
That's awful.
He's just missing the clock.
That's what it's a cosmic clock. We can't see it that way. Okay. All right.
The time stone.
That was so bad. That was so bad. Okay. So with the showcase that they did, in fact, pick these 3 characters to kind of round out the last bit of the story, because that was one of the other things for me was they gave each segment, we'll say, a name, which I was like, that's a story. Like that's its own separate story. And even within telling that story, they gave you flashbacks for that context of story. and these characters like coincidentally end up together, not by anything other than like it wasn't the narrative that brought them together. It was just, and this is actually how they coincidentally were defrosted.
Yeah, but if the story ends there,
right,
then you're right.
That's it.
It's just when they band together,
right?
That's fair. That's basically all they're doing is telling the backstory of everyone,
of everybody, and how they got there. So to you, the final bit is the story. Everything else was just kind of like a backstory that leads into it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that way we got these three people that wake up together and they're going to fight this whatever tournament thing to lead to the king one. And you just go, well, who are these people? And you're like, oh, let me tell you. And that's what that is.
Yeah. And it could just as easily be edited all together as one big thing.
Okay. All right. I for me, I still qualify it as an anthology.
And that's fair.
Because again, like, I don't think that what you're saying negates, like my understanding of it. I don't think what I'm saying negates your understanding of it either. I think it's like locked in. I actually think that that's one of the things that makes this one so genius, because it is, it's an interesting talking point. They've changed a huge factor of the lore. And I want to know, okay, so at the end, the end, right? Where we see I'm gonna spoil it. We see the girl from Prey is in there, right? Yeah. There's a body that we see first. Do you think that that's Dutch? There's a person that we see first, and it's not very clear. Like,
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Because I think that's an interesting.
Isn't Badlands coming out?
Yes, and that's also from the same guy.
Yeah, so I think that might have something to do with it.
Okay.
So it was, I just hope it's well written outside of being the rinse and repeat type thing, because it's it's no different than Jurassic Park at this point, or even Aliens is kind of the same way.
True.
Something but especially with Jurassic Park, hey, everything's fine until
it's not.
Until the one thing gets out because of a mistake that happened.
That somebody did that they shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Well, I think this one's interesting too, because the idea is that they collect the winners, and the idea of them going back and grabbing the people who beat them and trying to kind of set up a bigger obstacle for those people, I think is a very interesting sort of like concept, because it's not something that we've ever seen before when it comes to Predator. The closest would be the movie Predators, yes, where they picked up a bunch of people and they dropped them on this predator world. But the biggest difference is we don't get their backstory. They figure it out along the way as to why they all got grabbed, which is also part of the reason why I'm looking at this as an anthology, because here's them in universe collecting a bunch of people to set them on this new place, to have them, fight together, but we don't get their individual stories. We find out who they are as they interact with one another in this story, which we don't get in this particular version. One, because they can't understand each other, which I think is okay. Let me just give my one complaint. That's lame. Okay. If the Predators can create this necklace thing, this whatever, that can translate what they say so that each of these people understand it, why doesn't it work so that when these people speak that you can understand what that is? I don't understand that. Like, that's such a weird aspect of advanced technology that ain't that advanced.
So it's not a universal translator.
But it has to be, because it's translating what the Predators say to each of the three other languages. Like, it translates it to English, it translates it to Japanese, it translates it to the Nordic, whatever.
And the Predator's the one that's wearing it.
No.
They're
the people are wearing
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. I'm sorry. That was like the one thing. It was like, y'all can't understand each other, but you, like, when he says something, you hear what he's saying in your native tongue. Doors will work both ways. If it opens this way, it should open that way as well. But all right, that's me nitpicking. But I also took that as a thing too, like the lack of ability for the characters to actually have conversation, I thought was an interesting angle that kind of made each of their separate stories for me, because they can't talk to each other, unlike in Predators. Did you see that one with Adrian Brody?
Yep.
And I like that one. Did you like that one?
Topher Grace is in that one.
Man, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's not a nice person.
No, not at all. That was his reveal. That was one of my favorites ever because you should have seen it coming because there's nothing about Topher Grace that says like, oh yeah, nah, action dude. But yeah, he was Walton Goggins is in that one too. That's right.
I don't think I've seen the last one.
The
last theatrical one.
I've seen parts and pieces of it. I don't think I've sat down and watched it all either. Because they're back on Earth and it's like Sterling K. Brown and what's his name from Logan? I lost his name. But yeah, I didn't watch that one all the way through either. Maybe I'll give it a shot because I don't dislike the franchise, but I definitely hope.
No,
that
I just think there's been too many misses. Too many people enjoy Predator 2, and I'm like, why?
I don't know. Like, Predator 2 is not the one that I remember well. I remember parts. That's it, right? Obviously, Predator locked in, like all the way. I do. Well, let me ask this: is it because Predator 2 set up the bigger lore picture of connecting them with aliens?
No, I just don't think the story was well done.
I can't argue. I can't.
I just don't. I don't. I remember watching it and like this is kind of.
That's true. That's true. It gave us our wait, let me say 1, 2. Gave us the trifecta of Bill Paxton kills, which is great. He's the only person that's ever been killed by an alien, Terminator, and a Predator ever in history so far. So, yeah, good times.
Okay.
What do you think about that trivia? Yeah, that's right. Now I do question. So the gun that the pilot has, I have to rewatch Predator 2 just for that reason.
To see if it's at the end,
if it's the same gun.
Yeah,
I'm hearing that it is the same gun, which means that.
Do you actually have to watch the movie, or you just skim?
I mean, I kind of want to see it again. I haven't seen it in so long.
I'm sure you could probably Google that.
I mean, yeah, but I haven't seen the movie in so long. I might as well, I've met Danny Glover since then, so let me go ahead and no, not worth it. Maybe not.
That's your call. It's your
Those
time.
2 hours
to
I
waste.
can't get back. That's fair. No, I'm kind of interested in doing like a Predator marathon of sorts. Probably would start with Prey and then watch Predator 2, and then see like how far I could get before I'm absolutely bored out of my mind and turn it off. So I think I will do that. I'm not going to a show this weekend. That might be my weekend fare this wonderful Friday.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be watching Superman instead?
Not Friday. No, it's not till I get back. Not till I get back from Denver. Right?
No. I mean the other the Superman movies.
All of them?
Well, not all of them.
Nah, you got to watch all of them, man.
Come on.
What do you mean no?
1, 2,
4.
Returns,
Definitely 4.
Returns, Man of Steel.
Y'all will not hate on Superman 4 Quest for Peace, dagnabbit. Okay?
Garbage.
That is the greatest Superman movie of all time.
Garbage.
It is the one that Christopher Reeve wanted to do. Okay?
Garbage.
It made it great. Must
Garbage.
destroy Superman. Okay?
Garbage.
It's pop cultural reference. John Cryer turns around and when he's Lex, that makes it fun.
Garbage.
I can definitely admit it's not a great movie, but I love it. I
That's
love
fine.
A bad movie.
But I can't watch it.
It is pretty bad. No, you're absolutely right. A Superman rewatch is definitely on the horizon. That's an interesting one. So you say 1, 2, Returns, then Man of Steel.
Yeah.
In that order?
Yes.
Do you stop at Man of Steel?
What are you going to watch after Man of Steel?
Snyder Cut. Justice League. No Batman v Superman?
No. You don't need it.
No one needs it, but you're like Man of Steel and we're good. We're done.
Yeah.
All right.
Because Batman's not in Superman.
That we know.
Batman's not in Superman. Okay.
I don't know.
There's no that we know garbage because they haven't. There's not even a script.
I mean, listen. Let's be fair because we just referenced it. Thanos was at the end of Avengers, not the same actor. It's possible.
There's no Batman. All right?
That would be bold, wouldn't it?
There's no DCU Batman yet.
Man.
No.
Yeah,
No.
Creature Commandos actually puts him in there. That's got to count for something.
No.
Come on.
No.
You're not going to count that?
No.
All right, fine. All right. Well, I tried. But no, I'm very excited about that one. I'm getting more and more excited as the weeks come because he's almost here. And
yep.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. How about that? We'll see if I can find a Superman versus Predator comic. I think Superman's... No, did he fight Predator or did he fight aliens? He fought aliens. Didn't fight Predator. Batman fought Predator.
Yes.
Dang it. I was going to try to bridge the gap. It's too long of a leap. Got to look up. Sorry. I tried. Well, on that note, I'm curious what you guys think in terms of the anthology conversation. Does this count as an anthology for you? Clearly it does for Disney Plus because they put an anthology on the listing for it. So I was like, I don't even want to use that as the argument. Like, I don't think that that's a good enough thing just because Disney said it was one. No. Because I do like you brought up this definition here that clearly says, no, this should not be considered an anthology, which I like. So yeah, what do you guys think? Does it hold weight as an anthology or not? And would you like to see a new installment of it? And if it does not pick up directly where that one left off, does that change your perspective? Very curious about that. For Into the Chatterverse, I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and that's my last talking about What If for a while.